Today, I want to touch a little bit on the multi-time frame concept that we discussed before, and also a bit about sentiment, right? How it can help us and such. So, first, I'll touch a bit on sentiment. In these areas up here, right, there is a large amount of buyers who are optimistic, right? Especially in retail. So, how can we profit on that, right? We track the normal, from the most basic, fear and greed, to the more advanced, like news and this and that, like many metrics about sentiment as well. And we can counter trade it, right? Google Trends, good example, great example, right? Google Trends is absolutely dead after these periods, right? It gets to about zero or four for best altcoins search word. And just a few more examples like that, right? We can find a lot more than few, right? And our job for sentiment will be to get, again, the best combination that can help us get edge. Mm, okay, that's it for sentiment now. I want to talk about these zones, right? So on the weekly, you see here, right? Let's turn on the weekly, right? You see how it pretty nicely gets these zones, right? Um, yeah, but the weekly is a bit lagging on the momentum, right? Because once momentum starts turning down, as some of the move has already happened. Now, on the daily, these are just these dots. Areas when the momentum oscillator is above zero. Above, fuck's sake, above the threshold on the daily, right? So you see how pretty nicely it lines up with these tops and these bottoms, right? Not perfectly, maybe, right? Especially in some scenarios where it diverges, but generally, pretty nice risk metric, right? I think you can agree with me that by looking at these, you can have an idea when it's a good time and when it's risky in the market, right? Now, the idea, what I'm trying to convey to you is the multi-time frame analysis again with this tool, right? So you can see how when the weekly is up here, you shouldn't be expecting much more upside, right? I mean, but just combining these concepts, right? And when the daily gets super extended and the weekly, and you can go to the 4 hourly and the other time frames, right? You just get how this starts to align, right? And another point is when the weekly is fully reset, right? Here, you can see the examples. You can expect way bigger moves, right? Because, okay, here maybe the daily was fully reset and you got an okay move, right? Okay, 70%, that's nice. But here, when the weekly was fully reset, okay, here, let's say, okay, um, this was 150% move, right? So, as well here as the weekly was pretty much down here, right? Again, right? Big moves. Okay, I'm not even gonna talk about this one because the coin was new, but um, imagine you catch something like this, right? That's life changing. Anyways, so yeah, and once again, you see the importance of trend following here, right? It's not perfect, right? The whole concept of the overextensions is not perfect, but look, right? Because this stayed up for quite a while. Yeah. And if you short it here and you short it here, no. you need to have a good trend following system in place just because of scenarios like these, right? And if you can predict volatility as well, right, you can have an idea. I don't know, right? I don't have a perfect system yet. I have a basic mechanical discretionary system, uh, which I trade pretty decently. But the thing is, I cannot look at everything at once, right? That's why I even tackled algorithms in the first place, right? So looking at many time frames, looking at this, that, right? At overextension on this, that, all the time, and tracking sentiment, and tracking this, and tracking the news, and tracking just a myriad of other factors at the same time, right? And algos, they do that perfectly, right? As long as we make it do that, right? But it's on us to design it in an efficient way. Okay. So now I think that's it, right? I think you can start to appreciate how these time frames, right, can give you more information. Here you see the divergence, right, and why do the divergences happen, right? So you see here on the lower time frame, there's a divergence, but on the daily, there was, well, the momentum still kept going up, right? And here you can um kind of start predicting that this is gonna be um it's gonna start going south, right? And this relationship happens across all time frames, right? I mean, here this was just trending down and down and down, but on the weekly maybe, right, or even higher, that might have been um kind of, yeah, the momentum was still going down here, right? It was just below going down, so it didn't even clip or anything, right? Yeah, I mean, once this starts narrowing in, right, then it's like the momentum is starting to clip. But I mean, I hope you have a pretty good idea of what I'm trying to explain here. And yeah, I think that should do it for this. The main idea was just to get the idea of a risk context system, right? So yeah, I think I've repeated myself enough. If not, I can do a follow-up video or whatever. But yeah, that's the main concept of what of this idea. Okay, peace.